millions of people aren't saving nearly enough to give them the standard of living they hope for when they retire. With increasing life expectancy, there is an urgent need for increased savings for the old age.
We have a challenge of life expectancy retirement, which is increasing today. So you find ordinarily such a person may live for another 30 years. So why I'm bringing that comparison is that you have worked for 30 years and you want to live for 30 years. Where do you get the income from?
With a growing expectancy, governments are now reworking to reform laws to ensure that retirement savings match an expected long life.
The Ugandan pension sector has recently undergone a number of structural reforms with the enactment of the UBRA, or Uganda Retirement Benefits Regulatory Act, in 2011.
In Uganda, NSSF is the first pillar for social security. This national scheme is mandatory for both public and private schemes for all Ugandans in the formal and informal sector. Experts are, however, quick to note that NSSF is unlikely to have a good return to secure a comfortable retirement.
In ideal situation, in most developed countries, then you have different pillars. The first pillar being the state, like in Uganda we have the NSSF. The second pillar being the occupational schemes, the pension schemes that we manage, and the third pillar being yourself. Besides having the pension, you have a responsibility to do your other investments, and there are various investments that you can, as an individual, participate in.
The Uganda labor force stands at about 17.2 million, of which 15.6 million are employed in both formal and informal sector, and thus eligible for pension savings. However, pension coverage is 1.97 million Ugandans, and this includes public service, NSSF, and a few voluntary occupational schemes, representing 12.6% of the estimated active labor force in Uganda.
The economic aspects, it is worse because the replacement ratio, which is basically the level of income vis-a-vis the income you can get after retirement, in Uganda, from the studies that have been done, are actually below 20%. So here you have been earning, and when you retire tomorrow, you're expected to go down 80%.
In Rwanda, the sector is not very different from Uganda's.
The pension sector itself is actually in its infant stages here in Rwanda. The law was enacted in 2015. We are still in the stages where laws are actually being reviewed and tuned to the activities like within the market itself.
The Rwanda pension sector is growing fast. The number of contributors increased from 465,579 in June 2017 to 539,441 in June 2018. This is according to the industry regulator, the National Bank of Rwanda. Pension fund assets grew from 628.8 billion Rwanda francs in June 2017 to 749.2 billion Rwanda francs in June 2018. Despite this growth, challenges still remain because the sector is still new.
Challenges are to do with probably like the enforcement of the compliance. That is to do with the regulator enforcing, compliance as regards companies going ahead and in seeking professional service providers to extend these services to their in-house schemes that are, and as well as encouraging them to probably register them. And as well as injecting professionalism, like seeking, professional management of these schemes.
Another challenge for the pension sector in Rwanda is the bad saving culture.
If the saving culture is actually encouraged, and standalone pension schemes are actually indeed pushed into seeking professional service providers like ourselves, then these monies will be locked into asset classes like government bonds that are going to be able to help in steering the economy towards development.
Majority of the population in Rwanda is not covered, mainly because of the large informal sector. This also means that there is room for major improvement in savings if those people can be reached. Currently, Rwanda is working on a long-term savings scheme with incentives to attract the informal sector. The purpose is to address old age social security risk through increasing participation of working population both in public and private sector.
The very best long-term savings vehicle, like world over, is actually pension savings, because you're looking at saving money for quite a long period of time. We invest in long-term saving asset classes, like government bonds. In that way, our savings actually locked in asset classes that are going to in turn actually even bring returns for the people who are actually saving.